Young people are very empathetic. They care a lot about social justice, which is why many of them are extreme activists. And what this tells us about Gen Zs is that they have this deep sense of oughtness. What do I mean by that? I mean they have a sense that things in the world are not as they ought to be. Some say there is great evil in the world and there ought to be more good. They feel very strongly about this. But where exactly did these Gen Zs get this sense of oughtness from? Is it just their opinion that racism and police brutality is wrong? Is sexual exploitation being wrong only relative to the culture you belong to? If so, why are they so persistent on imposing their opinions on everyone? C.S. Lewis, a devout atheist turned Christian, said, "My argument against God was that the universe seemed so cruel and unjust. But how had I got this idea of just and unjust? A man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of a straight line. What was I comparing this universe with when I called it unjust?" You see, many young people think that all of the injustices in the world disprove God. But in order to know what injustice looks like, well, you would first have to have an idea of justice, a straight line. And where is this idea of justice coming from? You see, we all know that right and wrong and good and evil exist. No one in their right mind, or at least I would hope, would say that torturing and killing kittens for fun is just a mere opinion. No, rather we all sense that such a horrific, evil act is more than an opinion. We realize it is objectively wrong. We're all moral realists to some degree. Serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and Richard Ramirez deserved to be held accountable for their actions. Why? Because we know they violated a law. And when I say law, I don't just mean laws that are set in place by our legislative branch, even though they certainly broke many of those. The law I am referring to here is a moral law. We ascribe the word wrong to their actions, and we call them evil humans because we know that what they did wasn't just illegal in our country. We know it was morally wrong. We know that it was morally wrong because we first had an idea of what was morally right. They violated a moral law. If you were on a train and some punk started smarting off to you, he was calling you every name in the book, and it just went on and on and on, well, eventually you're going to want to snap. It's likely you're going to want to beat the crap out of him. But what, if anything, is the one thing that is stopping you from doing that? My guess would be laws. You know that there are laws set in place by lawgivers that prohibit you from doing that. And you know that if you violate those laws, well, then it could lead to some pretty devastating consequences. So what do? Do you beat the crap out of him? No, you live as if those laws are set in place. And in the same way, we as humans all live as if moral laws exist. And when we use terms like right and wrong and good and evil, where are we as humans getting the sense of these terms? Why is good something to pursue? And why is evil something to avoid? You see, in order for these moral laws to be universally binding on all of our hearts, there would have to be a lawgiver that transcends us. And that lawgiver is a personal, good God that provides us the awareness of these moral properties that are rooted in his nature. And this is unfortunately what Gen Zs are failing to understand. The reason they feel empathy is because of a prescribed moral law. However, they deny this because they hold to a relativistic view. And this view doesn't make sense of their convictions. And this results in them having a distorted view of these moral properties. You see, their activism derives from their empathy, but their activism is grounded in an insufficient source. Their philosophy doesn't give them any convictions for the empathy that they feel. And the empathy they feel certainly doesn't obligate others to feel subject to their feelings. But despite their broken philosophy, by considering a Christian worldview, they can come to discover an ethic that corresponds between their empathy and their activism. And until Gen Z see this, they will continue to be lost and will continue to have no way of grounding their moral judgments.